This Family Life News podcast is made possible by the support of listeners like you.
Next on the 5 o'clock report.
Jesus has allowed me to forgive you.
Winning the AI Race Summit.
30 grams of explosive powder, 600 times the legal limit.
You call it the Airbnb for pools.
Now, let's go to the newsroom.
Good afternoon and welcome to the broadcast. I'm Family Life News anchor Sarah Harnish. Sentencing day. Murderer Brian Kohberger was just given 4 consecutive life sentences without parole for the stabbing deaths of 4 college students at the University of Idaho. It was handed down without Kohberger saying a word. It angered former homicide detective Ted Williams.
He should have been made to speak to the nation and tell them why he killed these kids.
With all the pain pouring out of that room, one brave mother walked up to the microphone.
Our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, now has her in his loving arms in heaven, where she can never be harmed ever again.
Kara Northington using her pain to show a nation the forgiveness of Jesus Christ.
Jesus has allowed me to forgive you for murdering my daughter without you even being sorry. This is only possible because he who lives in me is greater than any evil in this world. For God hath not given us the spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind.
President Trump is set to give a major speech this afternoon at an AI conference. Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt has a preview.
Later this afternoon, President Trump will deliver the keynote address at the Winning the AI Race Summit here in Washington, D.C. President Trump believes it is non-negotiable that the United States wins the AI race.
The U.S. House is now on recess, and it happened early after House Speaker Mike Johnson told everyone to go home for summer break to avoid a vote on the Jeffrey Epstein files. Here's Johnson himself.
What we refuse to do is participate in another one of the Democrats' political games.
President Trump says this is a non-story.
I don't really follow that too much. It's sort of a witch hunt.
But Republicans like Kentucky's Thomas Massey are leading the charge to get a vote.
It would behoove the Speaker to bring this to the floor. Just vote this out.
A vote could be potentially embarrassing, though, for Republicans.
This comes down to what are Republicans afraid of?
Analyst Caitlin Huey-Burns breaks it all down from Capitol Hill.
What happened here, I think, really paints the picture of a Republican Party divided on this, and then Democrats trying to exploit that division. The beginning of the week, the House says these are the bills we want to vote on. They have to go through the Rules Committee. Democrats on the Rules Committee say, not until we get a vote on Epstein. Republicans don't even want to have that vote in the Rules Committee, so Johnson shuts it down.
The House returns in September. There's been another huge victory in the battle to protect sports, this time in the Olympics. CBS reporter Matt Piper.
The U.S. Olympic and Paralympic Committee says it is banning transgender women from competing in women's sports. The policy update does not use the word transgender, but says it will comply with President Trump's executive order on the matter. That order threatens to cut funding for organizations allowing transgender athletes in women's sports. More than 24 states have enacted laws barring transgender women and girls from participating in certain sports competitions.
Prosecutors in New York City say they busted up a plot to explode homemade bombs across Manhattan on rooftops and in the subway.
He stored at least 5 of them and shotgun shells on adjoining rooftops of residential apartment buildings in Lower Manhattan.
CBS reporter Anna Schechter.
One of the devices contained approximately 30 grams of explosive powder, which is about 600 times the legal limit.
Federal prosecutors say Michael Gann had purchased chemicals online to make IEDs. They found an IED on him during his arrest. Nothing went off. Beef prices are at a record high, passing $6 a pound for the first time since records started being kept in the 1980s. There are a few things to blame for the surge, including a drought that's made cattle feed more expensive. Pennsylvania has revealed the cause of the statewide 911 outage in early July. PEMA Executive Deputy Director Jeff Boyle says it was due to a defect in an operating system.
It doesn't appear to be the result of a software update that was pushed. based on our communications with the next gen 911 service provider.
It was not from a cyber attack. If it happens again, though, Boyle says, remember your county's non-emergency contact line.
We ask that the public do not test the system at this point by calling 911 just as a test, as it creates some challenges with the traffic coming into the 911 system.
No answers. 4 months after the corrections officers strike in the Empire State, prison staffing is still a major issue. The prison agency's security ranks say they're 4,700 corrections officers shy of what they need to run every program and housing area effectively. There are 30,000 prisoners cared for daily in the Empire State. And say it isn't so. Hershey Chocolate has just announced they're going to raise prices. The company blamed the rising cost of ingredients, particularly cocoa. They say it is not related to tariffs or trade policies. 60% of chocolate production comes from 2 countries in Africa. Still to come in the 5 o'clock report, calm conversations, how to have them from an expert, and the summer pool party you can throw for $30. You will not believe what you get for that price. Those stories after weather.
I'm Kevin Williams, and here is your Family Life regional weather forecast. Well, we're in a state of transition in the world of weather, locally and regionally. The early autumn touch of air in the region is now giving way rapidly to a more summery pattern, one that'll include heat, humidity, and eventually some showers and rumbles. No issues tonight, though. Skies will be clear to partly cloudy, not as cool as recent nights. Low temperatures in the 60s. Tomorrow, turning out hot, hazy, humid, good deal of sunshine, high temps, mid-80s to mid-90s. And on Friday, variable clouds, some showers and thunder showers arriving. It'll be quite warm and humid with high temperatures on Friday in the 80s and lower 90s.
All right, thank you, Kevin. Next at 5, how to stay civil in an uncivil world. A conversation with author Alexandra Hudson and our own Martha Meneikis Foster. Let's listen in.
Most of us, I believe, are uncomfortable with the harsh tone and the divisive spirit of public debate and increasingly private conversation. We're going to talk about that today on Family Life's Inside Out, where we look at how God transforms his people from the inside out. I'm Martha Meneikis Foster, and my guest today is author and speaker Alexandra Hudson, founder of Civic Renaissance. She's the author of the 2023 book, The Soul of Civility. Her recent Christianity Today article is titled, It's Time for a New Era of Christian Civility. Welcome, Alexandra, and your baby to Inside Out.
Martha, a privilege to be with you. Thanks for having us, both of us.
I'm excited about hearing the little cooing sounds in the background. So Alexandra, just as a baseline, how would you characterize the way we relate to each other in 2025? And if Christian civility would help improve things, could you break that down for us? What is Christian civility? What makes it Christian?
Civility is grounded in human dignity, the bare minimum of respect that we're owed and owed others by virtue of the shared imprint of the divine we each have as human beings. Genesis 1:27 says, God created man in his own image. In the image of God, he created them, male and female. He created them. We each have an irreducible moral worth by virtue of our common humanity and our shared dignity. It's not just about manners and politeness and niceness and knowing which forks to use. It's about personhood. And that is, I think, the crisis that we face today. It's a crisis of failing to see people as they really are, a crisis of dehumanization.
Yes. So people are worthy of respect simply by being. Is that fair?
That's exactly correct. That is exact. And we are too. Yes. It's not, civility is a mutual reciprocal duty. It's not just what we owe others, it's what we are owed. And sometimes that means standing up for ourselves.
Yes.
And saying, I deserve better, calling someone out, saying, that was not an appropriate way for you to speak to me or treat me.
It sounds a lot like the hard work of intentional peacemaking, saying that I hear you, but there's a line here.
That's exactly correct.
That's author Alexandra Hudson and Martha Meneikis Foster. You can subscribe, listen to, and share Inside Out and all of Family Life's original podcasts at Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, or at familylife.org.
Welcome to Breakpoint, a daily look at an ever-changing culture through the lens of unchanging truth. For the Colson Center, I'm John Stone Street. Earlier this week, in an attempt to recover $2.5 billion in federal funding, Harvard University took the Trump administration to court. This started just a few weeks ago when the president called on all institutions of higher learning to crack down on anti-Semitism on their campuses. Harvard was specifically warned by name that if they did not make changes, they'd lose their federal funding. In a letter to Harvard's wider community, the school's president painted this threat as a challenge to academic freedom. Quote, "No government, regardless of which party is in power, should dictate what private universities can teach, whom they can admit and hire, and which areas of study and inquiry they can pursue." End quote. Former President Obama then inserted himself into the conversation, posting this comment on X, quote, "Harvard has set an example for other higher ed institutions, rejecting an unlawful and ham-handed attempt to stifle academic freedom while taking concrete steps to make sure all students at Harvard can benefit from an environment of intellectual inquiry, rigorous debate, and mutual respect. Let's hope other institutions follow suit." End quote. As Dr. Andrew Walker pointed out, it's certainly odd that someone who attempted to force nuns to pay for contraception would position himself as a vanguard of the First Amendment. But this is the same former president who also said that he could always get things done because, and I quote, "I have a pen and I have a phone." Well, now both of those things are in the hands of a different administration. The IRS is even considering revoking Harvard's tax-exempt status. And it's not just Harvard that's on the receiving end here. According to Ballotpedia, President Trump has issued some 171 similar executive orders, 45 memoranda, and proclamations on policies ranging from trade, healthcare, immigration, energy, and criminal justice. In response to one of President Trump's posts about Harvard, constitutional lawyer and First Amendment defender Casey Maddox wisely advised caution, saying this, quote, "The prior administration and various lefty groups literally tried to do this. They failed. We should not give them the tools to succeed." Maddox has a good point. For the last few decades, Christians and conservatives barely fought off all kinds of attempts by progressive administrations to squash dissent. Thankfully, there are strong legal and traditional protections for conscience grounded in the Constitution. But make no mistake, the next president will be more than happy to use any precedent that's been set by former office holders, whether Obama or Trump. Breakpoint contributor Dr. Glenn Sunshine has pointed out that the infamous Machiavelli, a name now shorthand for tyranny, was actually, at least in words, a strong advocate for freedom. His call for an all-powerful prince was not argued as some ideal, but as political triage. Things were so bad that only an unlimited ruler could make them right. Ideally, the prince would hand power back over once the crisis passed. But of course, it never works that way. As Lord Acton said, power corrupts, and absolute power, absolutely. The rule of law is essential for flourishing, but not as a means for keeping one party perpetually out of power. The realities of the human condition in this post-fall world mean that no one should be trusted with unchecked power. Our founders understood that if people were angels, government would not be necessary. If politicians were perfect, neither would restraints. Now, none of this means, of course, that Harvard deserves tax dollars or tax breaks, only that there are reasons for our rules and for the restraints on power. If you win by an executive order, you can die from an executive order just 4 years later. For the Colson Center, I'm John Stonestreet with Breakpoint. Today's Breakpoint was co-authored by Dr. Timothy Paget. For a version of this commentary that you can print out and share with others, go to colsoncenter.org/radio.
Coming up on the 5 o'clock report, don't have a pool in your backyard? Boy, do we have an idea for you. You're going to need it when we hit 90 degrees tomorrow. Kevin's got your weather first, and then we'll cool you off next.
I'm Kevin Williams, and here is your Family Life regional weather forecast. Well, we're in a state of transition in the world of weather, locally and regionally. The early autumn touch of air in the region is now giving way rapidly to a more summery pattern, one that'll include heat, humidity, and eventually some showers and rumbles. No issues tonight, though. Skies will be clear to partly cloudy, not as cool as recent nights. Low temperatures in the 60s. Tomorrow, turning out hot, hazy, humid, good deal of sunshine, high temps, mid-80s to mid-90s. And on Friday, variable clouds, some showers and thunder showers arriving. It'll be quite warm and humid with high temperatures on Friday in the 80s and lower 90s.
And a cool off this weekend. Thank you, Kevin. Finally, at 5, picking a paradise. Can't afford a swimming pool? No problem. Just borrow one. There's a new business called Swimply that allows you to rent a backyard for a gathering. It includes a swimming pool.
People ask me, Jake, how'd you get a pool like that? Well, this is not my pool.
And the website features thousands of prime pool setups in 150 different cities, all available for rent by the hour from $30 to $250. Many of those pools able to accommodate 20 people. Joanna Clater lives in New Jersey with her children. Instead of heading to the public pool, she just rents one.
Would you rather go to where it's crowded or would you rather go where it's private?
Founder Bundum Laskin.
You call it the Airbnb for pools. Is that a fair characterization?
I think that's what we've been called. I think the biggest difference is that Swimply serves the locals. It's for the community, by the community.
The platform has grown into a summer swimming sensation, catering to everything from mermaid meetups for kids' birthdays to pools that are pet-friendly.
The latest trend on Swimply, and certainly the cutest ones, is the dog families that now come to Swimply.
It is a backyard breakthrough. And that's the world that we live in for Wednesday, the 23rd of July. I'm Sarah Harnish, and this is the 5 o'clock report on Family Life.
Thank you for listening to this Family Life News podcast. If you've been encouraged by what you've heard, please share it with others and click the subscribe button to automatically receive future episodes. Family Life is a listener-supported ministry. Podcasts like this are made possible by your financial partnership. Find out more at familylife.org.